Right here. Okay. All right, everybody. Welcome to another VEA collaborative chat. I'm here with my good friend Dennis Duarte, Island One Martial Arts. But tell us a little about yourself. What do you teach and where you're from?
So Dennis Duarte, been in the arts for roughly about 40 years overall. I teach out of my club in Pleasanton, Island One Martial Arts. I hold the rank of Chief Instructor under Grandmaster Harry Green in his one-on-one Filipino martial arts defensive system. And I also hold the rank of Sifu under Grandmaster Bob Gomez, the violent style of Kempo. And I'm actually currently training in the art of Serrata with Master Jeffrey Finder.
Awesome, awesome. So I've known you since, I can't even remember when we first met.
No,
I don't know, but it seems like we've been, brothers from another mother for a while now. But for anyone who doesn't know Dennis, I'll tell you, is just an awesome guy, very supportive, very generous with his time. What I like about him is, although he has his own school where he's teaching out of, he's always available to help promote others. And that's kind of a theme that we like to have with the VEA Collaborative is really, it's, as you call it, it's a tribe.
It's a tribe. No, it's really a tribe. And thank you for bringing that out, because I think, we've been in the martial arts for a long time. And no disrespect to anybody or any traditions out there, but for me, I'm 58. And I came up, I started when I was younger, then I had to take like a 17-year hiatus because of life. And then my son, of all people, got me back into it, and so I've been with it ever since. So as I've kind of gone through the different evolutions of martial arts, I found that I'm kind of that in-between guy. I'm not young enough to where I can do the time to be like a grandmaster or professor or something. Not that I wasn't chasing that, but it's always a goal,
sure.
Right? But I'm also too old to start that again. So I started looking at this going, okay, what do I want to do with my martial arts? And the seminar circuit came up. It started with the Gathering with Hanchi Bruce, then the IWA under Grandmaster Michael Smith. Then I found this wonderful thing called the VEA. What was it under Grandmaster?
It was the Mace.
The Mace.
Yeah.
And I found this wonderful thing called the Mace, and I'm like, this is my people. These are my people. This is what I've been looking for. And you and I have been doing this ever since. Right?
Yeah, and to go back to, so the Mace was a organization that my late instructor, the late G.M.R. Gonzalez, started, called the Martial Arts Cultural Exchange. And in that vision, he wanted to create an atmosphere where people could come of all different styles. Part of it was to promote the Filipino martial arts, which is our base of our Dinos de Cuerda system under G.M.R. Gonzalez, but also to have an opportunity where people can come and share the more traditional arts and systems. And so that's why he created the MACE event, the Martial Arts Cultural Exchange. Since his passing, in order to honor his spirit and keep that legacy alive, I created the VMAC, or the VEA Martial Arts Collaborative, so we could do that similar thing. That's something we do twice a year. And sometimes it's not just a martial arts event. It could be you come here and you learn the healing arts, right. Massage, massage therapy of what's under Professor Okazaki and Sifu Jiu-Jitsu, or we may do a stretching clinic, and I'm hoping to expand that out to different seminars, and as long as the people are of good spirit and mind, then I like to promote that so people come here under one roof and share. But along that vein, what do you like about these events? Like we're having today, we're having an event for my good friend GM Frank Riamas. He's back there. We're running an event today, and that's for his organization. His organization, in collaboration with the VMAT, is hosting today's event. And but for you, what do you see the benefits out of something like that?
Well, it's a good question. I was just going to actually segue into that. The reason I love these things is probably the same reason you do. We've been doing the arts for a long time.
Sure.
We have our base art. We understand how to defend ourselves. We have a curriculum that we can study and teach and share with other people. But, you want more. You need more.
Yes.
But I don't want to have to take another system or learn another system. So coming to these things, you get to pick up a nugget here or there, take it back. It's like I play with it and I make it my own, or I incorporate it where I think I can. And then the key thing is you meet some wonderful people. I met Jeffrey Finder here, through the over the years, and him and I would chat. And I did not realize that Jeffrey was actually the guy in the bladed hand that you see in the Philippines.
Yeah, the tournament, right?
Yeah. And when I found that out several years later, because he's so low key, right? But I share a Jeffrey story because when you're at this level we are, not that we're anything great, we're just experienced and we're old and older. You want to add to it, but you don't want to learn somebody else's system just because you don't have the time, right? So when Jeffrey came in, when Jeffrey and I came together to train, it was because Grandmaster Green's system is based, first five strikes are based in Serrano Eskrima.
Sure.
COVID hit, Senior Grandmaster Green is an older gentleman. I was not going to go around his wife or him during COVID, and Jeffrey lived like 20 minutes away. So I worked with Jeffrey to shore up my first five strikes, and now it's coming into a full-blown training in the art. But to answer your question directly, pull the nuggets and meet some wonderful people. I mean, there's, and I'm blessed. I am blessed because of you and others like you who do this, who allow that open exchange. The boundaries and the borders go down. I have a lot of GMs and professors that I know on a first name basis. Call them up and we laugh more than we talk martial arts. Yeah. That's what I love about this. You're right. It is a tribe, and we're doing good things. We're doing good things with this.
Well, I'm really pleasantly surprised on how many people are willing to share their time.
Yeah.
You know, I think, at least when I started over 20-something years ago in martial arts, at least in the FMA community, there was factions.
Yeah.
You know, people were, mean dog you, and it wasn't that atmosphere of sharing and collaboration. Unlike it is today. And so, I think we as folks who've been in the martial arts for a long period of time really owe it to the next generation. We're setting that example.
Yes, I agree.
And so I think by having events like this, we do that. When people say, "Oh, wow," when they become instructors or teachers, they're going to remember events like this, and they can hopefully carry on that torch of sharing. But yeah, I love the thing, and for me, it's a little self-serving. It's I get to bring people here and see them train. I don't have to travel much. The cost of gas prices, it's kind of very cool.
Exactly.
We're very blessed to have this location, and I want to give a shout out to the Akaya family.
Yes.
My good friend Sensilary Akaya, his daughter Amy Akaya, who runs this gym at school. She lets me teach under the VEA Victorious Elite All-Star umbrella. So we're a martial art component here, in addition to her cheer academy. So just absolutely blessed.
And that's a great fit.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the facility.
Exactly. And we've been here since 2011, so we're really lucky. But I like what you said about, you get to a point where you really can't learn a whole new system because of time. And I kind of equate it to going back to school. Like, I'm not going to go back to school and get another graduate degree just because I just don't have the time. But if I could supplement that with, say, a certification or a training program, that's kind of how I see it.
No, you're absolutely correct. So I do financial services, work in the retirement industry, and I actually went back to my graduate studies twice in my life. But like you said, it's like, okay, I got to go in, I got to do all this. And I'm like, I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Because I travel around I'm a field guy, so I travel around. Everything west of Arizona is my territory, so I'm on the road a lot. 2 points to make about that. Yeah. One, certifications are easier to get, and you get what you need, and that's what these are.
Sure.
It's like I'm watching Frank over there, Grandmaster Frank, work the inside block. I'm like, okay, I know that. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
And then now that goes into I call it the crumbs, right?
Yeah.
So
I call them the nuggets.
The nuggets, yeah. So that I love about it, and also it gives you the ability to, when I'm out and about, I'm out this way, I'll come see you. I'll go see Grandmaster Carlito. I'll go see, Master Ron Saturno.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that we can go and just, hey, I got 10, 15 minutes, want to stop by and say hi, and you know how that goes.
Yeah.
It's like, so what are you working on? We're working on the inside. Well, let me show you how we do it. And all of a sudden you're pulling more. Yeah. But it's that openness and that tribe mentality that I absolutely love. Yeah. You and I talked about this 8 years ago, I think, roughly, where it was just a passing conversation with the many that we have. Mike and I talk a lot. And you made a comment about club versus school. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Probably not. No.
Okay, so let me share with you. So we were talking, and it's like, I like to teach and I like to share. And you made the comment about, well, when you're going to open your school. And I said, well, it's going to be a club. And you go, that's better. But you never really told me why, because we had to part company real quick after that. And so I'm thinking, well, why is that better? And then I started realizing, Island One Martial Arts is a club, not a school. And here's why. if you have a school, there's an expectation that I'm going to teach you something, and you have to learn it that way, and you have to perform at a certain level. So you have test anxiety, the same things that we in the Western world, and probably the worldwide, our mindset is that when you have a school, there's like this regulation or this strict protocol that you have to follow. And I was never good at school. Although I went through it, I was never good at it. I like the club atmosphere because mine is a club where if you come, we're just going to play and train. If you want to show me something, great. If I want to show you something, great. But you come with an open heart and clear eyes, and you just want to just exchange and play and pick something up. Now, my trainees are people who I teach for rank, and I have 2 of those folks there. Thank you, ladies. But yeah, I like that club attitude versus a school attitude because I'm just Dennis.
Yeah.
And you're just Mike, and we're throwing stick and throwing knife and having a great time.
Yeah, and the other reason I personally like the club atmosphere is because I have a full-time job.
Same here.
I'm a full-time dad.
Same here.
I've got community outreach stuff I do. And so for me, having the name school, and I started off as a school, but I feel like I was giving that term into service.
To a certain degree, right?
To a certain degree, because I'm not a brick and mortar institution that can be there all the time because I have other commitments. I got to put food on the table for my family, and that's through my work. And so I thought, but I still want to teach and pass on this art. And then I want it to be, I don't want it to be the type of school where anyone can come in. I want to be very selective on the individual and people who come through my door. So I gravitated more to the club atmosphere because I said, okay, this club means you're becoming part of my family. This means, by taking you on as a student, that you're going to come into my home. And that's a big trust thing for me. You're going to be around my family, my kids. I'm opening my home and my heart to you. And to me, I thought it was better served to be under this club umbrella. Because you say, I'm going to go to the club. And the club to me is a group of friends who just get together and train.
Right.
I just happen to be the teacher of that club or the head instructor. But at the same time, I'm just Mike.
Exactly. So for example, to that point, and I absolutely agree with you. It's funny because, when I looked at this, I'm like you. I'm a control freak, but from a risk management standpoint. I don't want to bring anybody into the for lack of better words, inner circle.
Sure.
The cadre that hasn't been vetted. So, for instance, and this is not a plug for my club, but I'll just share with you how I do things. I don't care where you come with, whatever background you come in. The first 15 lessons are with me, one-on-one, and it's $25 per lesson because we got to make sure. First off, my time is valuable.
Sure.
Your time, you should pay for what you learn, and it's not about the money. It's more about the understanding that we're not just going to come here and drink beer for an hour and call it training.
Sure.
Okay. We can do that later.
Yeah.
But so the first 15 sessions are with me, and in that sessions we talk about basic. I don't even teach you anything other than maybe some basic boxing stuff, just some ideas. I want to look at your footwork, but they're anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, and it's a time for me to vet you and you to vet me. Because after that 15 sessions, now you become a full-blown trainee. Then we go to $40 per session, and this is why I like the club session, the club mindset. When we meet, it's $40 per session. And if you paid for 3 sessions, or $120 in the month, the rest of the month is free. And I do that because I travel. So like today, like I told you, I'm coming for the April 1st, but Sunday I'm on a plane to San Diego.
Yeah.
I go into detail to share that with you because that I think is fair. Nothing against anybody who has a school, but if there's a school, brick and mortar school, there's like financial expectations they have to meet, right?
Sure.
I don't ever want that to be, for me, I don't ever want that to be an overshadowing aspect of why you do things. So, and I'm a mobile martial arts instructor, so I don't have a brick and mortar school. I'll train you in the park, your house, garage, or what have you. And I kind of like that because now it's like I'm on their, like if I go to their house, it's their garage, and I'm a guest there, but yet they feel more comfortable training.
Sure.
I can go on for hours.
Yeah, so what led you to finally decide to start teaching? What was the kind of catalyst where you're like, you know what, I think I'm going to start a club?
2 things. First off, my teacher, Garrett goes, you got to teach. So, and that's just to perpetuate, and we had that conversation for a long time. As a proper student of him, you want to perpetuate what he's talking, just like you do with Grandmaster. The other one was that in talking with you, because your model is what I'm following. It's a blend between you and Grandmaster, Senior Grandmaster Green. It's the model where we're coming together just to play. So like I could do that versus having to go get a brick and mortar location and worry about rent and so forth. So it was going to start in 2020, and then COVID hit. I waited a couple of years. I'm like, no, I need to do this because I need to start getting senior grandmaster stuff out there. But I also like the idea of having the ability to not only train with others under my own umbrella, but also do a lot of events. That was the other part of the story.
Well, I tell you, I mean, you taught here at an event one time, and I think it might have been, was it the Coley Conversation?
Yeah, the Jim Ford.
Okay, there was that one, and then there was another one. You talked about the shark bite. What was it? The Golden Dragon Ohana.
Yeah, the Golden Dragon Ohana. Yeah.
So in both those events, I really like the way you instruct. I feel like you take the time to break down the movement, you know. And I think a lot of times you may meet someone, and this is no ding on different instructors, but sometimes they'll go so quickly and so fast that you lose the intent of the movements, you know. And so I really appreciate where you're able to come in and you say, okay, this is what we do today, you know. And it's sometimes it's not overly fancy, but it's effective. It's combat effective. Why don't you talk about a little bit where you come from, your mindset? And I know you're going to probably mention a couple authors that we both like to read because we're both book lovers and book readers. But talk a little bit about what made you focus on the combative aspect of how you teach.
Okay. So the reason going back to middle school, the reason I got into the martial arts was because I got jumped by about 5 kids at school. So it was warranted. I had I was a little mouthy kid back then.
So you're an asshole.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That was me in middle school. But I went to my dad and I said, hey, Pops, I said, I need a knife. And he's like, boy, what? He's from Hawaii, right? He said, boy, what do you need a knife for? And I said, well, I got jumped at school. And he goes, boy, I ain't going to give you no knife to take to school. Then my aunt was on the couch. She goes, hey, you ever thought about taking karate? I said, what, that Bruce Lee shit? Yeah. And she's like, yeah. And I'm going, sure, whatever. She goes, there's a friend across the street who teaches at his garage. And that gentleman's name was Jose. We called him Joe. And he was actually a Golden Dragon School of Karate instructor. So my first entry, I didn't know at the time, was entry through the Golden Dragon School of Karate. Decades later, I meet Senior Grandmaster Pete Morales, rest in peace, and became part of his organization. So when I took my first lesson, I was bit. Okay, so I, like we do, I'll use this term just as a matter of definition of intellectuals. We throw ourselves into it. So I read all the black belts I could get out of books. I go to the library every day. What I found in the different and I went around and I trained at different dojos. Like I took Aikido for 6 months, Taekwondo for 6 months, boxing for 6 months, different things. I mean, I went around for like 2 years doing that because I was 2, maybe 3, because I wanted to see what would fit, and I found Kachikempo, which gave me what I needed. So doing that, coming up in the ranks, I'm like, okay, this is an aggressive art. It's a no bullshit art, but it was karate fighting. Okay. Now jump ahead. I come back to the martial arts with that 17-year hiatus. Spent some time in Oakland as a EMT medic in Oakland, as well as a patrol cadet. So I've seen the realities of working at. This was during the 80s, during the drug wars. That shit was real. The stuff you see in the papers was real. So when I came back to it, I'm like, okay, I got a family. So my daughter, who's now 22, she's 5'4", 130 pounds. I'm jumping ahead here a lot, but culminating into this mindset you asked about is I deal in violence because, to quote Tim Larkin, if you're going to be met with violence, you have to meet it with violence. So everything I do is designed to be effective and violent, because you have to be violent in order to defend yourself. Now, some folks will disagree with that, and that's fine. I got no issue with that. I don't argue opinion. That's my opinion. So everything I get from Grandmaster Green, things I see you do, what I pick up here, I take it back and I run it through the mill of how is my 5'4", 130-pound young daughter going to be able to use this? And it's literally, my daughter would say, okay, what should I do? I said, put your thumb in your eye and wiggle until it pops. And she's like, Dad, I'm like, if you want to get away, to quote Grandmaster Ron Esteller of Esteller Martial Arts, escaping's not fighting. That was a big differentiator for me. When I heard Grandmaster Ron Esteller say that, I'm going, that's it. So all this stuff is designed around violence. It's designed to be practical, holding to the tradition with my trainees. They will learn the curriculum, but as we go through the curriculum and we break off into my flavor of that, that's where I am.
a lot of times I tend to gravitate to those things I really enjoy, and so I sometimes ignore the principal aspects of the foundational stuff because I'm always thinking ahead. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I picked up this nugget, and I'm trying to make it more combative. I'm trying to make it more efficient. But at the same time, sometimes I do a disservice to my students when I was like, okay, wait a minute. I got too carried away here. Let's go back to the roots of our system.
You do that in front of your students, right?
Absolutely.
This is why your students love you. I know his students, they love him because of that reason. This is why I don't teach. I share. I'm going to mess up.
Yeah.
You just messed up.
Yeah.
But when you show that, all of a sudden it becomes a whole different dynamic, right? Because you remember coming up in the old days, you never questioned Sifu or Sensei. You never questioned. Never a fan of that.
Yeah. So, we're getting towards the end of this conversation, but real quick, just what does it feel like to be like a white belt and learn under Master Jeff Finder?
Frustrating. Frustrating. Not from him frustrating me. I'm frustrating the hell out of him.
But I bet you love it.
I do. Because, so the first 5 strikes of Serrata is what Senior Grandmaster Green uses in his knife. Okay, so we learned it. But now when you have somebody who is a direct student of Angel Kabbalah's teaching you the way that Angel taught him, and he's adamant about that. He says, I'm teaching you the way, the basics, the way Angel taught me. Sure. You start seeing the little nuances that you may have missed before.
Yeah.
And not that one's better than the other, but it's like, oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh, now it feels better. Now it fits a little better, right? Or, oh, now I understand a little better why I'm doing this, right? Because the differentiator between that is Senior Grandmaster Green says, okay, this is the lesson, so it'll feel like an outside one, number 2 counter. And he wanted you to know the lesson so that way you have the footwork down, the balance aspect down, the idea of why we're going to the outside. So a lot of these little things that when you put a knife in your hand, it's a whole different conversation.
Sure.
Master Finder is like, this is why we do it this way, as it was taught by Angel for these reasons. So the foundation's a little stronger, the hand placement's a little tighter, the movement's a little crisper, because now you're learning this system.
Yeah.
So long answer to a short question, but I wanted to do it justice because as frustrating as it is to me, and I joke with Jeff, I said, I'm frustrated. He goes, no. As long as we still keep coming back, nobody's frustrated. Yeah. And he keeps coming back. The thing I love about that is that it keeps us oiled.
Yes.
It keeps us oiled.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but like 7 months ago, I took the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu plunge. And
what do you think?
I am loving it. Yeah. I love the aspect. I think what I like about it is that after every lesson, so there's the knowledge aspect I'm learning.
Right.
But then we put it to the test after every class.
Yep.
You have to roll. So for me, I love being a white belt again. And I go in there with no inclinations of, I don't care about rank, I care about knowledge.
Yep.
And so I just love floundering. I love learning something new. I love getting my ass handed to me by teenagers who are higher ranked. And because to me, I'm actually improving as an overall martial artist. Because what it does, and some people don't deal with it well. If you come in with your master certification in another system or your multiple belts in another system and you get on the floor and you get your ass handed to you, some people, their ego, they can't handle that.
Yeah.
For me, I get excited.
Well, humility is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
If you allow it in and you take it as you describe it, that's how I do it as well. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm so pious that there's not a part of me saying, okay, this kid's 16. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But you keep that in check, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, he's stronger because he's 16, and he's quicker because he's younger. How do I counter that? And all of a sudden you start pulling from your own background, and that's what I love about it as well. So,
and I like the technique of it. The reason sometimes you get handed to you by these kids who are sometimes even weaker than you is because they're utilizing technique.
Yes.
And me having an engineering background, I'm thinking, I'll say, okay, how did you do that again?
Yes.
And they'll show me.
Yeah.
Everyone's carrying, and this quick plug, JG Academy, Manteca here, under Javier Gomez, his institution at schools. Great coaches. I first met Javier when I took Koshiru Kempo here at the same school now that's now a jiu-jitsu school. So just quick plug to that group. Great people, great ohana. But I'm enjoying the journey, and I get to take it with my son.
Yeah,
so it's like on the ride there, we get to have these chats on the way home. We get to talk about things, and so to me, that's the biggest benefit of all is being on the floor training with my son is pretty cool to me because we're both white belts in the system.
And what better way to connect with your boy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, to me, that's worth the price of admission, in my opinion. We talk about that. It's one of the things, my motto for our club is, train to be strong, train to be confident, train to live unafraid. You don't say unafraid and not fearless, because that's a whole different mindset. Sure. You're always going to be afraid when you go into any type of combative situations. When I say train to be unafraid is learn to control that.
Yeah.
And that's the focus, because it's not just the movement. We can teach everybody the movements in a year, but to be a combatant, to be a martial artist, to be able to utilize that in a combative situation, it's a matter of pressure testing.
Oh, absolutely.
And you got to start that early on, and I do. I mean, I got foam fighting sticks, and as soon as they learn something, they're like, all right, block it. And I'm swinging on them. And these are like, both my trainees are women. One's about 5'9". One's about 5'4". The one I'm speaking of is big as 5'4", about a buck and 20 buck and a quarter. And I'm swinging on her.
Yeah.
I got plastic arm bars because I want her to swing on me. And when you see it, right, you block this and you throw it, all of a sudden she's bam, and you hear that crack, and they give you that smile.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important too because, once again, I'm quoting Lieutenant Colonel Grossman now on Killing. His book, he talks about how...
Great book, by the way. Get it if you don't have it. Sorry.
You have to train the mind and the psychological aspect of being under duress. I remember the first time I had to use my martial arts. This guy was hitting a guy with a Jack Daniels bottle, and next thing I know, I did a takedown, disarm. But afterwards, the adrenaline dump of that experience, we were training under duress, so I think I handled it a little better, but still, if you don't train for duress like that, I think, people sometimes even get sick from it. You've got to condition yourself to be under duress. That way, when a situation happens and you feel this fear, you say, okay, this is normal. Now what am I going to do to respond?
Yep.
And I think that's great. So, I don't know, great conversation.
Yeah.
I know you're going to be out here in April. We have our April event. You're going to be teaching in the lineup.
Yes, sir.
Any last minute words or comments you'd like to say?
No, if you're in Pleasanton, find me. My number is 925-967-8583 or island1ma@yahoo.com. That's island, the number 1ma@yahoo.com. Coffee. We can throw a stick. We can have something to eat. If you're in the area and you want to just chat for a little while, I'm about the good conversation, as you know.
Sure.
But I'm just Dennis, or Denny to some folks, and I have a club called Island Martial Arts. That's the mindset we train under, and we're just, like me and Mike talk about all the time, we're just here with these folks to just make everybody better. We want the pie to get bigger. We just don't want a bigger slice of the pie.
Awesome. What a great way to end that segment. Thank you. It was great to have you here, and I'll see you in April. And look him up, everybody. Dennis Duarte, my good friend. I like to call him Double D.
I'll take it.
So, look him up, and hopefully we'll see you here in April. You want to come see him teach, come train with him. I'll be posting a Collie Conversations video where they talk to him a little more than what I talked to him here, and you can kind of see his background. And then in that one, there's a demo that he showcases kind of what he does. So, feel free to check out Collie Conversations and their content to find out more about this man.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody.
Take care.